Your passports can be revoked, frozen at the border, or downgraded overnight, and the government that issued it has every right. That's why the most sophisticated investors treat citizenship like a portfolio, never betting it all on one. In this video, you'll learn 7 ways a single passport can fail you in 2026, building to the one that can leave you stateless. Stay to the end, because while a second passport does help, we'll cover what it can't do. Passport rankings reduce your citizenship to a single number: how many countries you can enter without a visa. Singapore sits at the top of most indices in 2026, but those rankings say nothing about what can be done to you with it. A single citizenship is a single point of failure because you depend on one sovereign, and that sovereign has all the leverage. By the way, this is the kind of nuanced calculation our private investor community inside IMI Sovereigns works through every day. Members compare notes, learn from each other's near misses, and pressure test their own exposure with the Sovereign Score, a 10-dimensional diagnostic that benchmarks everything from passport strength to where your assets sit. Link and a nice discount are in the description. Reason number 7 is the one you'd never see coming because it has nothing to do with your own government. The country that issued your passport does not control how other countries choose to treat it. The United Kingdom recently stripped St. Lucia of visa-free access and revoked the same privilege for Nauru. Ireland has since cut visa-free entry for St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia and Nicaragua. A citizen who could enter Britain without a visa 1 month needed one the next, through no act of their own. Your passport's ranking can hold perfectly steady while its usefulness narrows, and there's a subtler version of the same problem building at borders everywhere. Where algorithmic screening sorts travellers by risk profiles, visa-free counts don't reflect. That's an inconvenience you can plan around. Reason number 6 can strand you through. When a region destabilizes, your citizenship determines who is obliged to come and reach you, and that capacity is wildly uneven. Ireland has more than 100 diplomatic missions overseas for a population of 5 million. Many countries have a fraction of that, and some cannot reach their people in a crisis at all. During the Middle East escalations of 2025 and 2026, flight suspensions stranded travelers across the Gulf. IMI reported that the United Arab Emirates evacuated 500 of its golden visa holders when the airspace shut, the first live test of a consular expansion it had announced months earlier. Governments with the reach and the will to extract people did exactly that. Their citizens got home while others waited. A single citizenship ties your evacuation to one government's capacity and one government's priorities, and if the wrong passport is the only one in your pocket, waiting may be all you can do. But that's nothing next to what reason number 5 can demand of you. Conscription is returning to Europe. Croatia in 2026 became the 10th European Union state with a compulsory draft, its first conscripts training in March. Denmark extended conscription to women in 2025. Germany is rebuilding toward mandatory service after suspending the practice in 2011. And Ukraine lowered its mobilization age during its current war. A second passport does not erase the duties of the citizenship you already have. It will not exempt you from a draft your first country can impose. Where it could change everything is for the next generation. A second nationality gives your children a second place to build a life beyond the reach of one country's draft, and it determines which government has a claim on them at all. The claim is one thing. Losing access to your money is another. A citizenship can be an exposure as much as an asset. When a country is sanctioned, its nationals inherit the government's consequences, whether or not they did anything. Banking access narrows. Ordinary transactions draw scrutiny, and assets can freeze, none of it tied to a single choice the individual made. Capital controls work the same way, trapping money inside a border purely because of where its owner is a citizen. For anyone whose one nationality carries that kind of risk, a second citizenship in a stable, neutral jurisdiction is a hedge against a decision made in a capital far from where they live. Now, money you can't move is a serious problem. money that flows, but that the tax authority follows across the planet, is reason number 3. Nearly every country on Earth taxes you on where you live. The United States is the rare exception that taxes based on citizenship, reaching your worldwide income and transactions no matter where you reside, a rule in place since the Civil War. An American who hasn't set foot in the country for decades still files a return every year, and the tax authority is now weighing a change that would ask dual citizens to identify themselves, a sign the reach may widen rather than ease. Boris Johnson, born in New York and living in Britain since childhood, renounced his United States citizenship in 2016 after being taxed on the sale of his London home. If you're not an American citizen and think you're safe, this model is spreading. In October 2025, France's National Assembly voted on a measure that would have taxed high-earning nationals for up to a decade after they moved to a lower tax country. It's failed by a single vote. And the same idea had already surfaced in 2019 and again in 2024. Sweden, Finland and Germany already tax departing residents for a period after they leave. There's a trap underneath all of this. You cannot renounce your only citizenship because no country will let you make yourself stateless. Shedding a nationality that taxes you to oblivion is only possible if you already hold another, which is why the next 2 reasons cut even deeper. A passport is permission to exit a country, and the government that grants that permission can withdraw it. In May 2026, the United States State Department began proactively revoking the passports of Americans who owe child support, starting with roughly 2,700 people who owe $100,000 or more. The legal threshold is far lower, though, at $2,500, and the department has signaled the sweep will widen to everyone above it, a group that likely runs into the hundreds of thousands. A revoked passport cannot simply be switched back on. If you're abroad when it happens, the most you can get is a limited document that gets you home and no farther. Child support is only one trigger, though, of course. Exit bans used by a range of governments in tax disputes, civil cases and investigations can sequester a citizen inside a country's borders with no fixed end date. When your right to travel depends on one state choosing to let you go, that right wasn't truly yours. A second passport issued by another government reopens an exit your first one has closed. Finally, reason number 1. Citizenship feels permanent, but it is not. States hold the power to revoke it, and several are using that power at a scale the modern era has rarely recorded. Kuwait offers the clearest case. Since 2024, the country has revoked the nationality of more than 70,000 people, publishing the names in the official Gazette week after week. Count the dependents who lost status through them, and some estimates run toward 250,000, close to 1 in 5 Kuwaiti citizens. Those who held only Kuwaiti citizenship became stateless the moment their names appeared online, while dual nationals simply reverted to their other country. The United States has moved in the same direction by different means. A 2025 Department of Justice memo made denaturalization a top civil enforcement priority, directing government lawyers to pursue revocation wherever the law allows and the evidence supports it. Civil denaturalization carries a lower burden of proof than a criminal case, provides no right to a court-appointed lawyer, and can be filed no matter how many decades a person naturalized. American filings climbed from fewer than 10 a year to more than 30 in May and June of 2026 alone. A naturalized citizen with a single passport who loses it has nowhere to stand. One who also holds another nationality just reverts to it. So, having said all this, a second citizenship is not a magic wand, and pretending otherwise would insult your intelligence. It will not stop a denaturalization case against your other nationality. It will not, on its own, end citizenship-based taxation. A resident permit somewhere else can widen your mobility and give you a base to ride out a crisis, and a strong first passport already opens most borders on its own. What none of those can do is sever your dependence on one sovereign state. Only a second citizenship gives another state an unconditional obligation to admit you and count you as its own. None of this means every single passport holder is in danger tomorrow. Most people never trigger a denaturalization review, never owe 6 figures in child support, and never hold a nationality heading for sanctions. A single citizenship, rather, concentrates all 7 of these risks in one place, and the entire cost of that concentration falls on you. Of that concentration, the piece you can act on fastest is tax, because where you're taxed is often a choice, even when your citizenship isn't. If your passport cannot follow you with a tax bill anywhere on Earth, the practical counter is becoming a tax resident somewhere that only taxes income earned inside its own borders. We found 29 countries around the world that have that kind of territorial tax system, then narrowed it to the 15 you'd want to live in once weather, healthcare, and safety are on the table. A few will even naturalize you within a few years of residency. That video is on your screen now. Give this one a like and subscribe so the next one finds you, and we'll see you there.